Hi all, welcome to JayLearn Net channel. This is the first video on our channel, and this channel we will provide you with latest updates, information, knowledge about college education. So welcome to this video. So in this video we will cover these topics. What is UGC Net? What is JRF? What is the exam timing of this particular exam? What is the format of this exam? And what is the basic strategy that we need to clear and excel this exam? So let's dive into the video. So what is UGC Net? So you might be a student who is into his or her PG and will want to have a career in academia, right? So to have a career in academia, that is higher education, that is in colleges or universities, you have to clear this exam to be eligible to have a career in academia. So UGC Net exam is the exam that is conducted by UGC. So what is UGC? So UGC is the apex body of higher education in India, the University Grants Commission. So they conduct this exam for assistant professorship qualification. So that's the qualification to be an assistant professor and JRF. So there are two things, but the same exam, JRF has higher cutoff. So for example, so net in English, the cutoff for net in English is say 97 percentile, not percentage, 97 percentile. Then the cutoff for JRF would be say 98 or 99. So the same exam but the higher cutoff for JRF. So we'll tell you what JRF is and what is assistant professor. So who can write this exam actually? PG students of humanities, arts, social sciences, computer science, psychology, etc. can write this exam. So why do I specify all these subjects? Because generally there is a conception that UGC Net is only for arts subjects. It's not only for arts or languages, it's also for social sciences, it's for all humanities, arts, computer science. So computer science is actually the sciences that come under BSc Computer Science, MCA, all that are included in UGC Net. Also psychology. So there is MS Psychology, there is also MSc Psychology, all that come under UGC Net exam. I'm telling this again because there is another kind of net exam called CSIR Net exam. We also have a channel for CSIR Net exam. So in CSIR Net, they cover 5 subjects. That is physical science, chemical science, mathematical science, earth science. So this is not related to that science exam. This is UGC Net exam. So that is conducted by CSIR, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, along with UGC. So this is exclusively for arts, humanities, social science and certain sciences. All right. So these students can qualify during their study and after. So what does that mean? So a student who has registered for PG, who is actually doing their PG, post-graduation, can actually attempt this exam and clear this exam. Like me, I cleared this exam when I was in my second semester of my post-graduation. So if you are a PG student, this is the right time to clear UGC Net exam. Alright, so they can also clear after the exam. Exam has paper 1 and paper 2 to be done together within 3 hours. So you get 3 hours to complete the exam. You can either do paper 1 first or paper 2 first. You can go back and do paper 1 in the middle. You can do anything. So we'll do more video on the user interface of this exam. It's a computerized exam. It's an objective exam. So we'll dive into more about the exam. All right. So what is qualified for assistant professor? So as you can see, I've put that in quotes because that's how one part of the qualification looks like. So if you have just qualified net, so net exam includes net as well as JRF. JRF means the same exam, but if you clear with a higher mark, that is if you overcome the higher cutoff, you will get JRF. But in case you didn't clear JRF, but you cleared the cutoff for net, you will be qualified for assistant professor. So in your certificate, it will be written qualified for assistant professor only. All right. So what is qualified for assistant professorship? Let's look. So net. So that's basically what's called net. That's the basic qualification. That's the basic eligibility to be an assistant professor. All right. So that's the basic eligibility. That's what we want. even if we cannot get JRF, it's important that we get this. All right. Lifelong validity and no upper age limit. So that's the most important part about this exam. There's no age limit. Anyone can write. So as you know, this is the age of online education, open university, distance education. So people can change their career at any point in their life or career. So it has lifelong validity. So if you clear NET once in your life, you don't have to worry about it anymore. All right. So if you're a PG student, say 22, 23 years old, and if you clear NET exam, it's valid till you are into your career. Don't have to worry about this exam till you're dead, basically. All right. So have to pass PG exam with at least 55% within 2 years of the result for the NET to be valid. All right. So if you're a PG student, you cleared the NET exam. Also, you have to make sure that you pass the PG exam with 55%, which is not that difficult to get. And even if you clear the NET exam later also, you need to have 55% in your PG syllabus. The mark required for OBC, SC and ST is 50%. So what is the other benefit of NET? It's also a PhD eligibility at top institutions. So what's the PhD eligibility? What is PhD first of all? So after masters, now there is no more MPhil, right? Our education system has taken off MPhil and put PhD. PhD was already there, but now you can directly go to PhD. Earlier also you could go, but then people used to take the MPhil step and then the PhD step. Now you can directly go to PhD, and with NET, that's the basic eligibility in most higher institutions. So what are the higher institutions in India? Let's say IIT, ISER, NIT. So these are some technological universities. At the same time, in some of the humanities, top humanities universities, say private or government, the basic eligibility for PhD is NET with masters. Okay. So PhD eligibility at top institutions, that's also something that you get along with NET, not just the basic eligibility to be assistant professor. So what is basic eligibility to be assistant professor? I'll just clarify on that again. So you completed your masters. You want to be an assistant professor. You want to teach students. Say you want to be a guest lecturer or a permanent faculty. Just masters is not enough. You got to have NET. NET in whatever subject that you did PG. All right. Now what is JRF? I've been talking about JRF. JRF means Junior Research Fellowship. So as the name suggests, it's a research fellowship. It's a fellowship for research. So fellowship for research, that is PhD, plus assistant professor eligibility. So you have already surpassed the cutoff that is required for basic NET, basic assistant professor eligibility. So you'll definitely get that eligibility. Along with that, if you surpass the cutoff for JRF, you'll also get fellowship for PhD. So PhD, as we know, is something that takes 5 years. No, average, on an average, it takes 5 years, 4 to 5 years. So you'll get fellowship for all those years. There is an upper age limit, however, for 30 years. And I think it's 35 for females. Yes, it is 35 for females and other categories. So 30 years for a general male. And now what's the fellowship amount? They have recently, in 2023 October, they have increased the fellowship amount. Now it's 37,000 for the first 3 years and 42,000 for the next 2 years. So that's a good amount for someone doing research. So imagine you are 24, out of your master's degree, you already have JRF. You'll easily get into a PhD if you have a JRF, and you will start earning 37,000 plus incentive. There is an incentive per year that you will get. So per month for PhD research for 5 years, you're getting that for 5 years. And in the 5-year time period, they might increase the amount and you will get that money as well. All right. Another most important feature of getting JRF is that you don't have to write an entrance exam for PhD. So as we know, after masters, the next step is PhD, right? So to get into a PhD, you apply for a PhD, say at IIT Bombay or IIT Madras or JNU or HCU, what you have to go through is 2 steps. One is an entrance exam, and then you have to appear for the interview, right? Then you have to convince the interview panel that you are ready to do the research, you have a good synopsis, you have a good topic, you have a good proposal and everything. So once you have cleared JRF at the time of application, you have already done 50% of what's needed to get into a PhD, because you don't have to write an entrance exam. So PhD entrance exam might be tough, in some universities. So if you have already cleared JRF, you don't have to write an entrance exam. You can directly go into the interview, because you are among the top 1% of students in this country. All right. So that's one important aspect of getting JRF. That's one important feature. So that's something that I keep telling my students. Always aim for JRF. All right. So once again, I'll sum it up. It's an assistant professor eligibility that we get with NET. Along with that, since we have more marks, we have surpassed the cutoff that's required for JRF, we'll get a fellowship for PhD. All right. And what's that amount? That's 37K to 42K for 5 years. All right. And it's also subject to revision. Now let's once again look at the key points of assistant professor. So that's again qualified for assistant professor only, because that's how you'll get it in the certificate. So that's a basic eligibility to be an assistant professor. So without that, you cannot be an assistant professor. No upper age limit. So say if you're someone who is 40 years of age or 50 years of age or even 60 years of age and listening to this video right now, and you have recently completed a master's, or you are doing a master's from say IGNO, Indira Gandhi National Open University, or some private university through distance, you can still achieve your dream of being an assistant professor and teaching students. All right, because there is no upper age limit for NET. If you go to a NET examination center, you can see some people who are 50 or 60 coming and writing this exam. So that's the beauty of this exam. It gives you such an opportunity to change careers, to come back into academia. All right. Another thing is it has lifelong validity. You only have to clear this once in your life. It has lifelong validity. Another important point is have to pass PG exam with at least 55% within 2 years. If you are a student while writing and clearing this exam, you have to clear this within 2 years. So once you have registered for masters, you will definitely get it within 2 years. So say you are entering the master's course in June, which is the general admission time. You'll be able to write the exam in December. So the NET exam is conducted twice every year, in June and in December, right? So once you get into a PG course, you will be eligible to write the exam in say December, and you clear it in say December, January when the result comes out. In the first semester itself, you can clear it. Then within 2 years, you'll definitely get the masters. And if you get that masters with 55%, you are already eligible to be an assistant professor in India. All right. So you have to do that for the NET to be valid, which is something very easy to achieve for someone who has cleared NET. Now, some more points about assistant professorship. So that, as I said, it's the PhD eligibility at top institutions with or without teaching allowance. That's what TA means. So you get a teaching allowance. So the junior research fellowship is also actually a teaching allowance. You're supposed to help your guide to take his lectures. So even just with NET, you can get TA-ship in universities like IITs, NITs and ISER. You can get TA. So with or without TA, that is a PhD eligibility in most places. So once again, I'll clarify that. You don't always have to get JRF to get a TA-ship or a fellowship. Even with NET, you can get the TA-ship in IITs, NITs, ISER, Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, which is as good as an IIT. All right. So you can get this TA-ship with NET. Even if you do not get a TA-ship, that is the eligibility at most places. For example, certain seats in IIT might not have a TA-ship. All right. So even for that seat, you need NET to qualify for that seat. All right. So it's very important that you clear NET. Then also there are certain other fellowships for SC students, OBC students that you can qualify with NET. All right. So students belonging to those category can get fellowship if they have NET. All right. So that's another important feature of NET. So once again, the key points about JRF Junior Research Fellowship. So it's a fellowship for PhD and assistant professorship. Have to clear higher cutoff in the NET exam. As I said, there will be higher cutoff for JRF because you're going to get 5 years of salary, basically fellowship. Upper age limit of 31 years. So actually 30 years in the recent notification. So it's actually 30 years. 37,000 to 42,000 per month. So 37,000 to 42,000 per month for PhD research for 5 years. So the month you join PhD, if you have a JRF, you'll start getting the JRF stipend. That's the fellowship. All right. It has a 3-year validity. And what is the meaning of 3-year validity? So once you clear JRF, you have to register for PhD within 3 years for that JRF to be effective. All right. So you clear JRF in the coming December 2023. Okay. 23 to 24, 24 to 25, 25 to 26. So it's valid till 2026 December. So you get 3 years of time to get into a PhD. And once again, if you have a JRF, it's almost a cakewalk for you to get into a PhD. All right. It's very easy for you to get into a PhD. Another thing is no entrance exam required for PhD admission. So you have already done 50% of what's needed to get into a PhD admission. Increases your chances for PhD admission manifold by a huge margin. Eligibility for top research jobs at government research centers like DRDO. So there are certain, science-based JRF and NET subjects. And DRDO is a top research institute. It's Defense Research Development Organization. So there are other organizations like this. So they select the candidates based on GATE and NET scores. GATE and NET scores. So you can be a scientist. You can be a scientist in DRDO if you have JRF. For certain subjects, that is, you just visit their DRDO career website and you can see that. All right. So what is the exam pattern of this particular exam? The paper 1 and paper 2, as I said, paper 1 has 50 questions, paper 2 has 100 questions. So altogether it has 150 questions, 150 into 2, 300 marks. That's what the total marks is. There is no negative mark. So we are very fortunate to have an exam that has no negative marks. Whereas a CSIR exam, the science subjects exam, has negative marks. So the strain on the student is much more for the CSIR exam as compared to the UGC NET exam. So it might change anytime. So it's important that you clear it before this format is changed. All right. Only 6% of the students appearing will get NET. So in case 100 students write the exam, only 6 of them will get NET. So that's how the cutoff is set. So what is the basic strategy? So in this video, I'm only going to tell you the basic strategy that is required, because a detailed strategy is required if we are to clear this exam, because the competition is getting higher with every exam. Because more and more people want to get into academia, the seats are limited, only 6% of them will get NET. So the competition is there. All right. So we need a strategy. So in this video, it's only an introductory video. In this video, I'll give you a basic strategy as to how we have to approach this exam. So paper 1 is as important as subject paper. So what is paper 1? Paper 1 has 10 modules. Okay, I've explained this syllabus of this paper 1 and the importance of it in another video. I've pinned the link above. So click there. So paper 1 is as important as subject paper. So subject paper is something that we might have learned for degree, for post-graduation, right? So for 5 years, or for a good 5 years, we will be learning the subject paper, whereas paper 1 includes certain areas which we have never ever learned. All right, it's as important as subject paper. Why is it important? Because 1/3 of the marks is in paper 1. 1/3 of the marks, 100 marks out of 300 comes in paper 1. So once you skip that, you're never going to clear NET or JRF, let alone JRF. All right. Another thing is repeated questions in paper 1 can be identified and prepared for. So there are repeated questions. Questions as such, do not get repeated, but at the similar form. For example, in data interpretation, you can have that chart-based, graph-based questions that is getting repeated every year. And there is a ratio question in mathematics and all. Another very important thing that most students do not understand is that this is an objective exam. All right, so this is an objective exam, whereas your PG syllabus is a very deeper one. So from the PG, you have to come into this NET format, which is objective. You have to select the right answer from 4 options. That is a multiple choice question, and it's also objective. So the objective nature of the exam requires a very specific strategy. All right, how that is and how to prepare for this objective exam is something that I have discussed in another video. I've pinned it as I've said, so please watch that. Also download our app. It's available on Play Store and App Store. JayLearn. Download our app, attend our mock tests, watch our demo classes, and let's clear NET. Thank you.